Hallo, Valerie hier, euer Bastelwal. Now I need a birthday card for a teenage boy. That's never so easy, but I've got this stamp set from Indigo Blue that has nice wave patterns and electrical patterns and so on, and I thought this electrical pattern and maybe this here would go extremely well with a few LED lights with a little bit of a tricky business to set it off. I'm not quite sure. I've also got my electrical stuff out, copper wire, 6mm. Next time I'd buy 3mm because the space is usually not enough inside a card, and little LEDs. These are okay, you want as small as possible to hide them, and this is just about right. Then what I've got are some ball bearings. Had them for years, like 30 years after I took a bicycle apart, and now I think I've got an idea for them, that these bigger ones might be good for forming a contact somehow. Yeah. Fortunately, I've also got ready-made PET. This was a nail file packaging, and it fits beautifully with my stamp here. I just have to check that it actually fits on a card, otherwise I'll have to make a non-standard card size. But I'll just have a look and see. If I've got another one of these, then I'll make two, check that everything is gonna work. Okay, that's the idea. Let me make some planning. I'll shake it in, and it already gives hope that there might be light, and so you'll be tempted to try to get the ball in there as well. And then, all being well, it's going to work. Okay, good. Yes. The next little issue is that when I put my PET window on top, the shaker window, then actually you won't shake anything. So let's just check that fun foam is going to do the trick. This is 2mm thick fun foam, a couple of extra little bits, and now it's still touching. Okay, maybe I have to build it up double, although it will be sinking in. Okay, the ball bearing has to move easily. No, okay. So I do need to do double layers. Let's just check that. Then it's plenty. It's going to be plenty with double layer. 4mm higher than this window. Okay, it's going to be a fat card. So having checked various options with my washers and ball bearings, and then I ended up with a nut as my connecting piece for this particular card. Creation of this card, I'll put it at the end of this video as a slideshow, but actually then I made a second card, and it's a bit more complicated, so I'll go through the more complicated one first, and then you'll see it in more detail. So I think I've got all my ingredients now. I've got a folded card, B6 size, and everything else I've made smaller. I'm very lucky that I've got a Silhouette Cameo, a plotter, so I can print and cut out whatever I like, and that's how I've managed to do this lovely birthday motif with cutting out the letters so beautifully, and everything else perfectly laid out so that I don't have to struggle with measuring and stuff like that. So the idea is we have the folded card, we have the circuit either on here, or to make life a bit easier I thought I'd do the circuit on one of these. I've done two. It's just very slightly smaller than the card, the folded card. I've done two with these holes in because I want the washer to sit in there nicely without falling out, because I've done 3 holes now just to make it more challenging. And if you've done one, then you don't want that falling out too soon before you manage to get the other one in. I remember that as a child. It was always irritating. Then, in order to make the circuit really secure, then I hope it's going to be necessary to get the ball bearing to go on top of the washer then. Right, so I might do the circuit on this one and then put that one on top, leaving the exposed bits here. I have to cut out the battery here, that's where the battery is going to go. On top of that, a bit of fun foam. I've got it double layered, so there's 4mm. This is self-adhesive fun foam, so there's still the adhesive layer on there. And that'll go on top of there, exposing where the lights are going to be, where the window is going to be, and hiding the battery, because all of that gets covered over by that. Oh, wait a minute, we have to put the window in as well. And then when the ball bearings and the washers are in place, then the Happy Birthday Lewis gets lit up. The lights have to be able to shine through, of course, so I lined the text here on the back with self-adhesive vellum, so like tracing paper but sticky, and then on the front I had to make it not sticky anymore where the letters are on the front of it, so I just covered it with my magic ingredient, corn flour. So having tested this proper version, the top of the card, with the light here to see where the lights are actually going to shine effectively, I'm hoping that 1, 2, 3, 4 there, 1, 2, 3, 4, I think it's 13, lucky 13 number of LEDs that we're going to need. And now for a circuit. The circuit has to come along here, and I think, shall we make it nice and complicated, that each one lights up a different row. I've made a sketch of my plan. Battery here, rows of text here, 3 rows, Happy Birthday Lewis, and the sort of blobs are the LEDs. And from the battery we've got the green lot of copper coming to the top side of the LEDs each time, so that's fixed, that's always on, as it were. But then in the other direction, from the other side of the battery, we come to the switches. And when this switch is down, then this row comes on. When this switch is down, this row comes on. When this switch is down, this row comes on. And I could cut down there instead of having this going all the way around there. So I'll use the same colours to mark my card. I've glued it onto the card, the folded card now, because otherwise the sticky part, when I come over here to make my switches, the sticky part is going to be sticking through the hole, so it might as well be on the card already. So we're coming from one side of the battery and going here, here, and here. Doesn't have to go over the end, it can just go to where the light is and no further. And they all have to join, or each can go to the battery if I want it to, but maybe it's better if they join up and then there's just one going to the battery. So let's do that and let this one carry on. Then in the other direction, let's use my red to be consistent. We have the red one coming from here and under here. Maybe there is just about space for my 6mm. Oops, I don't have to go that far. Here's the light, so the copper tape only has to go that far. And in this case, we'll make it easy. We'll go from here. Look now, we're going to see this copper band. Anyway, okay, I can't be too fussy about that. That's going to go there. This one comes down and then goes there. And this one can just go straight down when it comes out. Right. So, and then that's the switch part in each case. And so the other side of this part of the circuit goes through the holes and then goes up to the battery. That's the idea. Now let's see if I can get my copper band to play along with this plan. The sticky side of the copper tape isn't conductive and I need to make a connection, and so I've twisted the copper wire to make it sticky and then a piece that'll connect and then sticky again on a little strip to join the pieces together here. Circuit 1, Circuit 2, Circuit 3. So once the circuit was finished, I checked that the LEDs still worked with each of the connections, and then checked that my idea with the washer and a ball bearing on top also worked, and then I could build the card. Now I'm going to glue this piece on so that it covers over where the shaker part is to make it a nice surface. Okay, it's a bit primitive with the copper showing through, but I can't do anything about that. Maybe I should have done the printing in the same colour as the copper. That would have disguised it a little bit. On top of that, there's going to be the fun foam, then the window and the card front. And now back to the other card, the simpler one, where I've used a die cut greeting this time and a nut as the connecting thing. I've also done embossing, an amazing embossing powder mixture called Black Magic from Wow, and it's just perfect to create this effect of being an electrical circuit. So I built up the card as before. The yellow is 2mm thick fun foam, and out of that you have to cut spaces for the window, for where the lights are going to shine through, and to accommodate the battery. Stamping works better if you have a slightly soft surface, so I put a layer of fun foam under my paper when I'm stamping. I used leather look cardstock for this card, and I enhanced it a little bit by adding some more brown colour with a makeup brush. The sentiment there I covered on the back like before with sticky vellum, and because it was already sticky I could put the counters back in. You know, the B and the A and the S and the G have little bits that are missing to start with, and you have to make sure you don't lose them, and it was easy to stick them on because the backing paper, the vellum, was already sticky. And then I got rid of all the rest of the sticky stuff like before with corn flour. Caused myself another little bit of a problem because I only have 1.5 volt batteries left over, and we happen to have a bit of a supply of these, and so I decided to use 2 1.5 volt batteries. You need 3 volts, and how do you add 2 batteries? Well, Professor Dr. Google helped, and you have to pile them one up on top of the other in effect, so plus to minus. So I have 2 little batteries and join them together correctly. But then at the end, it needed a bit of pressure to make it work. It was like a switch in itself. The intention was that it should have worked without doing anything more than putting the nut onto the in the shaker bit. But in the end, I had 2-factor authentication. You have to put your thumbprint in the right spot. I decided on that instead of just putting something that says press here. Tschüss, bis zum nächsten Mal mit Bastelwahl.